So the film starts in an empty town near California, where an archaeologist filled with desperate hope reaches in search of gold. Today, after years of relentless struggle, his dream of finding gold has finally come true, but he does not know with a sinking dread that this gold belonged to an evil miner named Jeremiah Stone, who was buried, cold, and forgotten with his treasure. And as soon as the archaeologist, trembling with excitement, touched his gold, magically, particles of earth started flying in the air, swirling with eerie chaos, and a body was created again in his skeleton, i.e., as soon as Jeremiah Stone, with a vengeful hunger, touched the gold, he became alive, his eyes blazing with fury, and reached the archaeologist. Before the archaeologist, stunned and confused, could talk to him, he kills the archaeologist by stabbing his axe into his body, a brutal, heartless strike, and then, with a twisted grin, collects all his blood in a pot. The scene cuts, and we see Birdie, her heart heavy with worry, who was the sister of that archaeologist, aching for his safe return. Actually, the archaeologist had not come home for a long time, leaving a void of fear, and his mother was very worried, her eyes red with sleepless nights. Birdie encouraged her, forcing a brave smile, and said that he used to wander in search of gold even earlier. Even now he must be somewhere around here and will come home, her voice trembling with hope. The call had just ended when Birdie received a letter, her pulse racing with curiosity. It was from her brother, the archaeologist, and her hands shook as she held it. She opened the letter and saw a map and a piece of gold inside it, her eyes widening in awe. She understood, with a surge of pride, that her brother had really found gold, and now he was calling her, with silent urgency, to extract this gold. She should go alone, but she gathered her entire group, her heart pounding with determination. Now, all of them left for the house to ask for directions, his brow furrowed in confusion. There was an old man, his face etched with fear, who got scared, his voice quivering when he heard the name of the town, and warned Axel with desperate urgency not to go there. "The ghost of Jeremiah Stone will not leave you," he rasped, his eyes wild with terror. "I think you did not come here after listening to his stories," he muttered bitterly. He was so evil that even hell refused to take him after his death, a chilling truth that hung in the air, and his soul is still wandering in the world, restless and wrathful. He was buried in his mind, sealed away like a dark secret. It has also been heard, whispered in dread, that Jeremiah Stone was a cannibal. He had killed his own wife and child, a monstrous act that froze the old man's heart. He also shows her a years-old wanted poster of Jeremiah Stone, his hands trembling as he held it up, which was of that old man's grandfather. The old man's grandfather had also lost his hands, a brutal sacrifice, while trying to catch Jeremiah Stone, but no one was able to catch Jeremiah Stone, a legend of terror that haunted him still. Axel tells the old man with a sly grin to give him his poster for $40. Axel thought, smug and triumphant, that he had fooled the old man and taken things worth thousands of dollars for $40, but in reality, he himself had become a fool, a twist that gnawed at his pride, because this old man had made many such posters inside the house, chuckling at his own cunning. He used to take money from people by telling stories of Jeremiah Stone, his voice alive with mischief, although he himself did not believe in anything about Jeremiah Stone, scoffing at the superstition. Now this old man used to earn money by telling stories of Jeremiah Stone, a game he played with glee, so Jeremiah Stone was angry at him too, a fury brewing in the shadows. Today he had earned money, counting his coins with a satisfied smirk, but perhaps he would not be able to earn after today, a grim fate creeping closer, because Jeremiah Stone came to kill him, his presence cold and suffocating. He threw his axe from behind, a swift, merciless arc which got stuck in the old man's back, his scream echoing with agony, and blood was spread all around, a horrifying crimson flood. That old man was also killed by Jeremiah Stone, his last breath stolen in terror. It was seen here that now the whole group had reached the town, their hearts pounding with anticipation. After coming here, Axel saw, with a jolt of panic, that he had lost his watch, which was gifted to him by his fiance's mom, a sentimental treasure now gone. His fiancée got very angry with him, her voice sharp with frustration. That's why Axel started looking for his watch before work, his chest tight with guilt. He couldn't find it, despair creeping in, but a local girl, Eve, found it, her eyes sparkling with kindness. She asked him, with a gentle smile, if he was looking for this. Axel nodded yes, relief washing over him, and they talked for a while, a brief moment of warmth. She also told that she lives nearby with her aunt, her voice soft with familiarity. During their conversation, they heard Axel's fiancée screaming, a piercing cry that shattered the calm. These people ran there, adrenaline surging through their veins. Axel's fiancée was in the salon and was scared of the pigeons present there, her face pale with irrational fear. The town was empty, so this scream went far, echoing through the desolate streets, from which the Sharif also came here after hearing it, his steps heavy with duty. There were very few people in this town, a lonely, tight-knit cluster, and all the people living there knew each other very well, bound by years of trust. Sharif saw Eve and started asking her about her aunt, concern lacing his tone, and after that, he asked the whole group with stern curiosity that why have you all come here? Birdie was about to tell them the truth, her voice trembling with honesty, but her friend put a hand on her mouth, silencing her with a frantic shake of the head, and her friend lied to Sheriff that they have come only for camping, a nervous laugh escaping her lips. And the piece of gold which Birdie was going to show to the Sheriff, her heart racing with pride, Birdie's friend took it from her hand, a swift, panicked grab, and gave it to another girl. On hearing about camping, the Sheriff also started advising them, his tone gruff but helpful, that where they should go here. Then Eve said, with quiet confidence, that I will guide them. Before going, Sharif had warned them, his voice low and serious, that the road ahead is very bad, so they will have to take only one car ahead, and after going ahead, they have to stay away from the mine. That is, Sharif was stopping them from going to the same gold mine for which people had come here, a warning that weighed heavy on their minds. Axel's fiancée, who had got the piece of gold, thinks of running away from here, her heart pounding with selfish fear. She unnecessarily fights with her fiancé, her voice shrill with anger, and starts leaving from here, but before she could go too far with this piece of gold, her breath quick with greed, Jeremiah Stone came in front of her, his presence chilling her to the bone, who crashed her car, after which he pulled this girl out of the car, her screams wild with terror, and caught her by the hair, separated her head from her body with his knife, a gruesome, emotionless act, and then took back his gold from her hand, his eyes glinting with triumph. On the other hand, now the whole group has reached Jeremiah Stone's mine, their pulses racing with anticipation. These people had now gone inside a cab, in which Jeremiah Stone had died and where he was buried, a place thick with dread. Jeremiah Stone had also killed the archaeologist, i.e. Birdie's brother, from the same place, a loss that gnawed at her soul. Here they did not find Birdie's brother, her hope crumbling to dust, but they did find his bag, which had half of the map inside it, a bittersweet discovery. Following this map, Birdie tells, with fierce determination, that they will easily reach the gold. Now Eve, who was with them and lived in the same town, got scared, her breath catching in her throat, as soon as she heard the name of the treasure. She panicked and said, her voice shaking with dread, that if you people have come here for the treasure, you will just get killed. Saying this, she ran away from here, her heart hammering in her chest, and immediately went to her house. She told her aunt, tears welling in her eyes, that they have come here for the treasure. Aunt relaxed her voice soft and soothing, and explained that they will get punished for their deeds, a calm certainty in her words. You cannot stop them, but you should not go to them, she urged with quiet firmness. But Eve could not see them all dying like this, her conscience screaming to act. She decides to go back to help them, her resolve hardening despite her fear. As soon as she left, her aunt called Sharif, her voice tight with panic, that Eve's life is in danger, and told everything to the sheriff, desperate for his help. But all of them followed the map and reached a hidden place, which was full of treasures, their eyes gleaming with greedy joy. Seeing this, their happiness was countless, a wild, reckless thrill surging through them. They also forgot, blinded by lust, that Birdie's brother, who had given them the map to reach here, could not be found by them. A pang of guilt buried beneath their excitement. Greed blinded them, a dark veil over their hearts. They filled their bags with as much treasure as they could, hands shaking with eagerness, and decided that they would come here tomorrow to get the rest of the treasure because it was about to get dark, a creeping unease tugging at their minds. And if they stayed here in greed for the treasure, it would be difficult to reach the car, a practical fear breaking through their haze. Here it was shown that Jeremiah Stone caught the running Eve, her breath ragged with terror, who had come to alert them, her heart pounding with selfless intent. But Jeremiah Stone thought with cold malice that she was also after his treasure, so he caught Eve by the neck, her gasp choked with fear, and killed her by stabbing her in the stomach with his axe, a savage, heartless blow. Here it was shown that now this whole group had camped, weary but restless, and when Axel goes alone among them, his nerves frayed, the sheriff catches him there, his grip firm. The sheriff thought with growing worry that Eve would be with these people, but when he sees that Eve is not with them, disappointment sinking in, he leaves them here and goes away alone, his steps heavy with frustration. Well, during their conversation, we saw that one of their friends had also brought a gun, his eyes glinting with paranoia because he felt that someone might snatch the treasure from him, a gnawing distrust festering within. To kill whom he had brought the gun, his intentions were even more dangerous, a sinister edge to his smirk. He did not even want to give his friends a share, his greed twisting into betrayal. From his words, it seemed as if he would kill his friends, only because the fewer the people, the bigger the share, a chilling logic that stunned them. Everyone was shocked to hear his words, their trust shattering like glass. They were still thinking about this, hearts pounding with unease, when they saw a shadow coming from a distance, a cold shiver running down their spines. On coming closer, they saw that it was Jeremiah Stone, his presence suffocating with menace, who first scared everyone by throwing an axe, a terrifying thud splitting the silence. The rest of them ran away to save their lives in fear, their screams raw with panic, except the one who had the gun, his confident confidence wavering but stubborn. He was dependent on the gun, clutching it with sweaty hands. He did not know with dawning horror that Jeremiah Stone was already dead, and now it is impossible to kill him with a gun or in any way, a truth that chilled his blood. He fired bullets at Jeremiah Stone, his hands trembling with defiance, but they had no effect. Seeing this, he also got scared, his bravado crumbling. By taking the gold, he also thought of running away from here, his breath quick with desperation, but a girl had sat in the car, her eyes wide with terror. Before he could drive away from here, Jeremiah Stone throws his axe from a distance, a deadly arc slicing the air, which breaks her windscreen and hits her head, and she dies on the spot, her scream cut short in an instant. Seeing this, the rest of the people got scared, their hearts racing with primal fear, and started running in the other direction, legs pumping with frantic energy. On reaching there, they saw that the man with the gun had already sat in his car, his face pale with selfish intent, and was ready to run away alone, leaving his group, betrayal burning in his eyes. But Jeremiah Stone would not let him go too far, his wrath inescapable. Jeremiah Stone grabbed the steering of his car from the side window, his grip iron and relentless, and while turning the steering fast, he completely unbalanced his car so that his car collided with another car present there, a deafening crash, and blasted, and in this blast he also got burnt to death, his screams swallowed by fire. The rest of the three people were completely scared after seeing this scene, their breaths shallow with terror. Now, when they saw Jeremiah Stone's face made of stone, they were scared to death, their minds reeling with disbelief. They ran away from there in a hurry, and there they found Eve's aunt, who brought them to her house to save their lives, her voice trembling but firm with resolve. Eve's aunt told them all, her tone heavy with sorrow, that you should not have stolen her gold. Whoever steals her treasure, he wakes up, a grim warning etched in her words. And when he wakes up, he causes destruction, a truth that weighed on their souls. Now he will not spare all of you, her voice breaking with helpless dread. Now Eve's aunt tells them and us, with a haunted gaze, the old story of Jeremiah Stone. In 1851, when Jeremiah Stone used to steal the gold of others, his heart black with greed, when everyone came to Jeremiah Stone to take their treasure, their voices pleading with rage, he kidnapped a girl and threatened, with a cruel sneer, that he will kill this girl. Everyone requested Jeremiah Stone to save that girl, their cries desperate and raw, but he did not show mercy to anyone, his soul devoid of compassion. He hanged the girl in front of everyone, her screams piercing their hearts, and killed her badly by hitting her with an axe, a savage act that froze them in horror, that too in front of everyone's eyes, a nightmare they couldn't unsee. In anger, all strike, and the lantern broke, shattering her courage. Due to the kerosene oil and fire falling on the aunt together, Aunt was also burnt to death, her screams fading into ash. After this, she grabbed the throat of one of the group members, his gasp choked with terror. Before he could kill him, another friend cut off his hand with his axe, a desperate trembling swing, and then these people started running with dynamite, their breaths ragged with hope, while Jeremiah Stone used his axe to replace his broken hand, his face twisted with rage. Here, these three were planning to keep all of Jeremiah Stone's gold in his mind, their minds buzzing with urgency, and then call him there and destroy him by placing dynamite. Now these people went to place the dynamite inside the mine, their hands slick with sweat, while Birdie was waiting outside, her heart pounding with dread, to press the button of the dynamite. Now Jeremiah Stone was also in his mine, his presence a dark, looming threat. On seeing these two here, he got angry, his roar shaking the walls, and injured them by hitting them with his axe, their cries sharp with pain. Both of them were counting their last breaths, their hope fading fast. Before Jeremiah Stone could kill them completely, Birdie quickly comes here, her resolve burning bright, and burns Jeremiah Stone with a flare gun, and then tries to come out with her two companions, her voice hoarse with urgency, but Axel refuses to come out, his jaw set with stubborn bravery, because he had to finish Jeremiah Stone completely. Birdie came out with her companions, tears stinging her eyes, but Axel stayed inside and blasted those bombs, his sacrifice heavy with purpose. There was a huge explosion there, a deafening roar that shook the earth. Axel was also killed in it, his loss a sharp ache in their hearts. By now it was morning, the light harsh against their exhaustion. Birdie and her companion were still alive, their breaths shallow with relief. Both of them saw, with a jolt of fear, that they still had some treasure. Birdie's companion quickly threw the treasure bag away, panic driving his hands, and then the sheriff passed from there, his face lined with weary curiosity. When the sheriff saw both of them here, he gave his van to them to help them, his voice gruff but kind, and then started exploring the place, which was fine till night, but now it had broken down, a shattered remnant of their greed. He didn't know anything about the incident that happened last night, ignorance shielding him. He also found a bag here, which Birdie and her companions had thrown, a discovery that quickened his pulse. As soon as he picked it up, once again, Jeremiah Stone, while tearing the ground, came out, his roar a harbinger of doom, and became alive again to spread destruction, his wrath eternal. And now what will he do? This story ends here with this mystery, leaving their hearts pounding with unresolved fear.